Hi everyone, how we all doing? Yeah, I know it's a bit strange surroundings. I'm in my living room. You're probably wondering what's going on here. Is he going nuts? I have, but that's besides the point. I wanted to just take a wee deviation in the channel from the usual hard-hitting stuff we do and have a bit of fun on today's video. Now, I got a tweet recently, and hands up, I can't actually find the tweet and I can't find who sent me the tweet. They'll know who they are. And it was asking me if I would go back and look at some of the early videos we did to do with Ange and basically react to them. They thought it would make a funny video, and I agreed. So here we are. It's going to be a selection, I think, of 3 different videos we put out at the end of May and early June when Postecoglou's name was first mentioned. I haven't watched any of these back, genuinely, so I'm going to be reacting to them kind of live as well, if you get me. It's a bit like Gogglebox, except this is Postecogloubox. Yeah, I took the afternoon off earlier in the week when I came up with that name. Just amazing, hit the jackpot big style. My thoughts thinking back to where I was at that stage, I was completely infatuated with Eddie Howe and the idea of Eddie Howe becoming the Celtic manager, and I didn't want to consider anyone else becoming the Celtic manager, and Ange probably suffered a bit as a result, so it'll be interesting to see how that comes across in these videos. I like to think I was relatively fair to Ange, if certainly very ignorant to him. You know, hands up, I think most of us were, but we'll see how this goes. Let's roll the tape. Well, I've made a fair few mistakes in my time. Buying that, maybe right up there. There it is. Have you ever seen a bigger upgrade in life than that daft Eddie Howe one to that beauty? The answer's no. It's been a tough 24 hours, put it that way, guys. It's been tough, but we can all join in it together. We can all get through this together. There's over 200 of you on already. We are 67 Hail Hail, and we're going to chat about the horrors of the last 24 hours, and we're going to try and come up with some sort of solution for the future. There was a hell of a lot of uncertainty around the club, and watching this is kind of bringing it back. I think you forget when you see how good a place the club seems to be in now, and Ange is obviously taking us there. Still a lot to go, but we're in a much better place. You do kind of forget just how dire things were. I remember doing this video and you felt as if the world was almost ending. We'd had this massive hope of Eddie Howe coming in and saving us after our worst season ever. And, you know, I was convinced Eddie Howe would have had us winning the league. And then that just completely collapsed after about 2-3 months of waiting around. And I think you've got to remember that Postecoglou, you know, was an unknown to a lot of us. I'm just trying to get excuses in. But it does seem like it's going to be Ange Postecoglou. Oh, no. Ange. I mean, no slight on him. It is a tough name to pronounce, but it sounds like a name we're going to be getting used to. Ange. What was I thinking? It does very much seem like the wheels are in motion for this to happen. How can you have A-N-G-E and pronounce it Ange? I was on annual leave yesterday. Nobody cares, Hamish. Nobody cares. Anyone who was on my train carriage, which was it was quite busy, will probably know that I was jotting down loads of information on Ange again, Postecoglou. I'll just fire through it quickly. This may be all over the place, so bear with me, lads. He was a centre back when he played. He played mainly for South Melbourne. Oh, I remember this. I now run through his entire life. Genuinely run through his entire life here. He was, according to Wikipedia, known for his pace and willingness to attack. He had his career ended after a horror knee injury, and in total he earned 4 caps for Australia. He took over a relegation-threatened team, finished 12th in the league in his first season and reached the final of the J-League Cup. Next season, he led the side to the title, their first title win in 15 years. My conclusion, he's not Eddie Howe. I don't think he's a standard of Eddie Howe, but he is not the Diddy that a lot of people are making him out to be. It's alright, I saved it a wee bit at the end. I said Ange wasn't a Diddy. He isn't Eddie Howe, actually. Much better than Eddie Howe, if we're honest.
It's a difficult one, this, because you have to try and separate your feelings about what's going on with the guy himself, and that's what I've been struggling to do over the last 24 hours. I look at him, and his CV isn't extraordinary, but having looked at a lot of information on him today, and 67 Hale Hill spoke to someone a journalist for the Japan Times, who is adamant that he can get the job done. The overwhelming response from Australians overnight was that he could do a brilliant job in Europe.
There was a lot of incredible amounts of positivity coming from down under. The amount of folk we spoke to, and they all had good things to say about Ange. I did listen to a lot of them. I think we'll see that in the next video with Vince Rugari. That was when I really started to kind of believe in Ange at that point, or believe in what he could do at Celtic. But this video, I think I'm still mourning the loss of Eddie Howe to Celtic. Well, if I look tired, it's because I am. Right, here we go, the big dog, Vince Rugari, Vince Nostradamus Rugari, of course. This is the video where it all changed for me. Genuinely, I went into the start of this video, with not a clue what to think about Ange, and I came out of it an Ange disciple. Started the video a boy, came out of the video a man, and it's all down to that beautiful Aussie guy, Vince Rugari.
I know, I've got to admit, I had some doubts early doors when we woke up on a Saturday morning to all this chatter on social media about Ange potentially being the guy for Celtic, and we've always thought it was only a matter of time until someone in Europe took the punt on Ange, because he's a top class coach. I just didn't think it would be Scotland, and in particular, sort of like a club like Celtic or even Rangers. I know he was linked there a few years ago, just because as I mentioned, and as he said in the headline, the risk factor is so high. It's a 2-team league, if we're honest, and if you're second, you're last, basically, as far as the old firm clubs are concerned. And Ange is the kind of guy who, I guess, needs a little bit of time to get his kind of football up and running. When it does happen, it's absolutely irresistible. And it has been everywhere he's gone. But there is that sort of period, that teething period at the start, which can be quite uncomfortable. But I think history's shown in every job he's had that once you get through it, it's worth it.
See what I mean? He genuinely... We've had Vince on twice, and both times he has genuinely predicted the future. That's why he's got the Nostradamus nickname. He just predicts exactly what's going to happen, and it clearly is just what happens with Ange. I'm fascinated by this because you guys, you and loads of other journalists over in Australia don't have a bad word to say about this guy at all. But here, there's a real apathy towards Celtic, and there's probably a bit of apathy towards the idea of a manager we don't know a lot about coming to Celtic. I definitely, as I say, wasn't pro Ange yet at this stage. I think I was coming around to the idea that he could be a success at Celtic, and certainly by the end of this, as I say, I was. But I might seem quite negative in these videos watching them back, and it's actually much more negative than I remember being at the time. It's quite strange, isn't it, that there's such a difference in the two viewpoints from other parts of the globe. But this was going on everywhere, and to be honest, in some places, especially the mainstream media, it was far more negative. Complete. Who is this guy? He's a nobody. He's going to be a complete failure. I like to think, without tooting our own horn too much, that when we were unsure, or when we are unsure in the channel, we like to get someone who knows on, and I think this is kind of where our whole Insight series on the channel kicked off. We got Vince on, and he was just amazing. So it was quite a big moment for the channel, this interview, as well as Celtic, and I think it's still maybe our second highest video. It's got nearly 40,000 views.
It's crazy. None of us do have a bad word to say about Ange. Maybe there's one or two who have been burned by him in the past, but on the whole, I think most sensible football observers in Australia will say that he is the best coach we've had. Look, probably not even in terms of just football.
This is the bit that I remember. This sticks with me.
Potentially the best coach Australia as a sporting nation has ever produced.
Look at my reaction there.
And I don't say that lightly. We've had quite a few in a lot of sports.
Look at my reaction. I was pretty stunned when he said that. Right, here we go. This is the live video we did shortly after Ange had been appointed. So he's just been appointed. It was like a Wednesday or Thursday morning, I think, and hopefully I'm a little bit more around to the idea by this stage. I think I am. Hi there everyone, you're watching 67 Hail Hail. Celtic have a new manager, hip hip hooray, Ange Postecoglou.
This is long overdue. I'm excited to have a manager in place, but Neil Lennon resigned in February. We're here on the 10th of June.
That does kind of bring it home, like how long the appointment took there. I think there was a sense of relief as well that Celtic had their manager, even if it wasn't the guy we necessarily wanted months ago with Eddie Howe. We had a manager in place because it had been so long with a caretaker manager and just all this speculation. In terms of Postecoglou, again, we got loads of quotes from him. Again, the vast majority were just the usual stuff you would expect. I've always
Celtic posters on his wall.
Have a poor comment that from John, slagging Ange off. John, terrible. He then did hit out with a couple of interesting ones again, I thought. He says, we have already begun work on our plans for adding to the squad. We aim to bring players of quality to Celtic to enhance the existing core of great talent. Now, I'm not sure if great talent is how I would describe the existing core of the Celtic squad, but anyway, we'll move on. But again, that's a compliment to Ange from me, because the squad wasn't filled with great talent. We barely had any players left when Ange came in. It's certainly filled with great talent now, so a compliment. I was laughing when in his interview with Jenny McCulloch from Celtic, the fifth word he said was mate. We are going to get a lot of mates. Yes, I got something right. I knew we'd get loads of mates.
Tommy Rogic as well, noticed that.
Tommy and Scotty McDonald. I think you had a Y on to anyone's first name. We mentioned for Scott McDonald as well before Scott was even part of the channel. I think the thing I was just chatting about there months ago was, I remember at this stage feeling having people tell me about this feeling you get from watching Ange's teams, and it's so difficult to imagine a feeling until you feel it, and now you just feel it. Like I can't remember the Celtic support being so invested in a team and invested in a manager, even more so I think than Brendan Rodgers, and we feel that now. Like I just love this team and love Ange, and there's obviously something he does. I think he maybe signs the right players, and obviously the way he carries himself in press, all contributes to that. I just think this is a time for Celtic fans to kind of knuckle down and to get behind this guy. There's a lot of ill feeling at the club towards the board. I think you can separate the board and Postecoglou's team, and I think it's crucial that every single Celtic fan gets behind Postecoglou and his team and roars them on to victory hopefully next season, because we need to get this team going again, and we need to win the league back. The turmoil away from the pitch at that stage was incredible, and again it's just a huge credit that Ange has almost made us forget about all that stuff going on in the background.
If you want to go and kind of express your anger at the way the club's headed over the last 6 months, which is perfectly understandable, then that's what you should do. But I think in terms of Postecoglou, we need to get behind this guy. It's as simple as that. The alternative is that we make the situation worse as a support and a fan base, and I don't think that's what anyone wants at the moment. I think
we've done all right out of that. The first video was certainly a little bit worse than I was expecting. I think, as I say, I was just completely disillusioned with Celtic at that stage, and pretty annoyed that I'd basically read an Eddie Howe book for no reason at all. But it's all good, because I've now got this absolute belter that I've not even finished yet, even though I started it around the times I was doing these videos. But I think we've come out of that okay. Hopefully you've enjoyed watching this bit of a different video today, giving you a wee laugh, maybe giving you a bit of a feeling as to what the reaction was like when Ange to Celtic was first mooted. He's not a complete success yet. He still has to win the league and do well in Europe to be considered, a complete success and be up there with the likes of Brendan Rodgers and Martin O'Neill, etc. But he's already got a trophy. We're top of the league. We're 12 games away, effectively, from winning the league. If we keep winning all our games, we'll win the league. And there's real potential with this Celtic team. And you're a legend. I'm sorry I ever doubted you. We're back tomorrow with the post-match video after Raith.